It's Thursday, October 22nd, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you today's news in southwestern Connecticut, including a sad end for one of the whales spotted in Long Island Sound over the past month, a mother in Trumbull arrested for driving drunk and leaving her young children home alone, and much more. Rob Adams will have sports and weather, Donald Eng will give us a look back on this day in history, and our editorial director John Kovach will join me later to take a look at this week's front pages. But first, today, the Bridgeport Police Department is asking the public for assistance with an active investigation into a non-fatal shooting of a 21-year-old. On October 21st, police officers responded to a call at about 10 o'clock at night for an alleged shooting incident on Colorado Avenue near the corner of Denver Street. Upon arrival, police officers found one victim suffering from 2 gunshot wounds. The victim, a 21-year-old male, suffered a gunshot wound to the upper left shoulder and the left hand. The victim was transported to St. Vincent's Hospital in an ambulance, and he is reportedly in stable condition. Anyone with information regarding the shooting are urged to contact the Bridgeport Police Department at 203-581-5201. Well, the Weston Forum reports that the Tri-Town Teachers Federal Credit Union has filed a lawsuit against Kyle Navin, the son of missing Easton couple Jeffrey and Jeanette Navin, and they're seeking more than $5,000 in unpaid loans and credit card debt. The lawsuit claims that Kyle Navin took out a $7,500 loan with the credit union on May 23, 2013, and now owes a balance of about $1,500. In a second count, the credit union is seeking payment of over $3,000 for an unpaid Visa credit card bill. 27-year-old Kyle Navin is currently in police custody while awaiting trial on a federal gun charge. His parents, Jeffrey Navin, 56, and Jeanette Navin, 55, were reported missing on August 7th. Kyle Navin was reportedly the last person to see them before they disappeared. After a search of his home in Bridgeport, Navin was arrested on September 8th for possession of a firearm by an individual who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. He pleaded not guilty to that charge and has been in police custody since his arrest. He has not been charged in connection with his parents' disappearance. Jeffrey Navin is the owner of J&J Refuse in Westport. Jeanette Navin is a longtime paraprofessional with the Weston Public Schools. A Bridgeport woman was arrested for driving under the influence in Trumbull, allegedly hitting a parked car and leaving her 4 young children unattended. Police said that 36-year-old Meta Young was charged with DUI, failure to drive right, and failure to maintain proper insurance on Bonneview Drive in Trumbull around 11:45 Sunday, October 18th. Young crossed over the road and hit an unoccupied parked car. According to a report, Young was argumentative and confused at the scene of the accident and told police she didn't remember what happened. She refused to give her license to the responding officer and stated that she believed she was in Bridgeport at the time. An investigation found a partially empty vodka bottle in her car. She was asked to step out of the vehicle and she had trouble standing immediately, the report said. Trumbull police said she failed field sobriety tests and refused a breathalyzer test at police headquarters. Police said in her cell, Young began screaming and acting mentally unstable, so an ambulance was called and she was released with a promise to appear in court. However, Trumbull police received a call from a nurse at the hospital hours later who said that Young was screaming about being released from the hospital because she needed to check on her 4 kids. The Bridgeport Police Department was notified of the unattended children and went to Young's residence to find 2 8-month-old twin babies, a 1-year-old child, and a 5-year-old left alone. According to the report, Bridgeport police have taken over the investigation into the well-being of Young's children. She's scheduled to appear in court on Monday, October 26. It took a half hour before officials in Bridgeport noticed a prisoner had slipped his handcuffs and vanished from the Bridgeport Police Department lockup. That, according to sources that spoke to the Connecticut Post. Nelson Vega, the alleged ringleader of a Stratford burglary crew, continued to elude a manhunt Wednesday night as police with dogs searched area streets. The city's police spokesman Kevin Coughlin confirmed that Vega, who's 29 years old, was at large. Vega of Henry Street in Stratford was being held in lieu of a $100,000 bond on burglary and larceny charges and was scheduled to be arraigned in the Golden Hill Street Courthouse Wednesday morning. Police sources say he was chained to a number of other prisoners and was being escorted by several unarmed civilians who manned the department's lockup to a van parked on the ramp outside the second-floor booking area. Vega reportedly complained his handcuffs were too tight and the restraints were loosened. Vega then somehow managed to distract the escorts. When their backs were turned, he shed his handcuffs and slipped away unnoticed, the sources said. The unwitting civilian escorts then drove the other inmates to the courthouse. Sources said Vega wasn't discovered missing until the inmates were unloaded into the courthouse lockup, but by that time he was long gone. Police with a search dog from the Trumbull Police Department set out on Vega's trail and tracked him to the hollow area of the city before losing the scent. There were reports that they found Vega's discarded Bridgeport Correctional Center t-shirt. The police department's lockup area was turned over to civilian jailers about 10 years ago for cost-cutting reasons. According to the Connecticut Post, there are no records of previous escapes. Vega was arrested on September 10th and charged with being the organizer behind a Stratford burglary ring. Well, there's been a sad end for one of the whales that had been spotted in Long Island Sound in the past month. A 28-foot female humpback whale that was found dead on the north shore of Long Island over the weekend may have died of blunt force trauma, marine biologists say, meaning it was potentially hit by a boat. Officials say this was one of the whales that has been seen in the Sound by Milford and Darien residents. The Long Island Press reports that Huntington Town Bay constables towed the whale, which was found floating 150 yards offshore near Woodland Drive, to the U.S. Coast Guard station at Eaton's Neck, where experts performed a necropsy Sunday. A spokesman for the nonprofit Riverhead Foundation for Marine Research and Preservation said it will take several weeks for the exact cause of death to be determined. The Riverhead Foundation asked that anyone who has images of the tail, chin, or dorsal fin of the recently spotted whales call them at 631-369-9840 or email images to them at sightings@riverheadfoundation.org. They say this will be extremely helpful in identifying the deceased whale. The group also reminded the boating public to stay at least 50 feet away from all marine animals for the safety of the public and the animals. To report a sighting to them, again, you can call them at 631-369-9829. Going to throw it over to Rob Adams right now for a look at today's weather. Rob?
All right, Kate. Good morning, everyone. Nice day outside. Apparently isolated showers before noon, but I'm not seeing that right now. A slight chance of showers after 5, and I promise you this is not Oregon that we're talking about. Partly sunny, a high near 74, so it's going to be warm once again. Chance of showers tonight, mainly between 7 and 10 p.m. Cloudy during the early evening, then gradual clearing with a low around 46 with a west wind from 5 to 9. It's only a 30% chance of precipitation, so I wouldn't get too wrapped up in it. To Friday, sunny and 56. Beautiful day. Clear and 34 tomorrow night, though. We'll start kind of bundling up again. Increasing clouds and a high near 57 for Saturday when we're in Greenwich. And during that day, we'll see a slight chance of drizzle or light rain before midnight as we head into the evening. Then cloudy with a chance of showers after midnight and a low around 44. Chance of showers on Sunday before 2 in the afternoon. A mostly cloudy day, a high near 61. 40 the low that night, mostly sunny, and 58 to get the week started on Monday. Ridgefield has 63, Darien has 63, and right here in Shelton, it is 62 degrees, Kate.
Thanks, Rob. Well, after the break, Rob's going to be giving us a look at the latest high school sports reports, and Donald Eng will be joining us with a look back on this day in history. I'll also have a lot more news for you after this.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
The fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait in the Long Island Sound. This is the time to visit the New England coast, and the Dock Shop can get you outfitted with the latest fishing gear, jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece. Boater, beach bum, fishermen simply love the New England coast. This is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. 102,000 viewers have enjoyed the HAN Network in just the last 6 weeks. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Thursday edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, throwing it over now to Donald Ang for a look back on this day in history. Don?
Well, thanks, Kate. It was a supreme achievement by 4 young women from one of Detroit's toughest housing projects. But first we go to 1383, the crisis of Portugal. King Fernando dies without an heir to the Portuguese throne, sparking a period of civil war and disorder. There was something in the air that night. 1844, the Great Anticipation. Millerites, those are followers of William Miller, anticipate the end of the world in conjunction with the second advent of Christ. The following day became known as the Great Disappointment. Miller would die 3 years later, still claiming his prophecy was correct. His followers live on as the Adventist churches. 1926, J. Gordon Whitehead sucker punches magician Harry Houdini in the stomach in Montreal while Houdini was reclining on a sofa. The magician and escape artist would die 9 days later of complications from a ruptured appendix. 1934, in Ohio, FBI agents shoot and kill notorious bank robber Charles Pretty Boy Floyd. Floyd got his nickname from a witness at a robbery who described him to police as a mere boy, a pretty boy with apple cheeks. Floyd hated the nickname, but it could be worse. He could have gone into history as Apple Cheeks Floyd. And finally, we go to 1966 when there was this.
I need love, love to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call mine. But Mama said you can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. She said love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. You can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. You gotta try.
That was 1966. The Supremes become the first all-female music group to reach #1 with an album. That was the Supremes A Go-Go. The Supremes A Go-Go was actually their 9th studio album and the only one of the 29 Supremes albums ever to reach the top of the Billboard charts. That's your look back in history, and I am Donald Ng.
Thanks, Don. Good job. Well, before we bring on Rob Adams with high school sports, we're going to get back to a little bit of news. Joel Barlow High School officials presented a new safe dance protocol to the Region 9 Board of Education this week. Gina Pinn, who's Barlow's head of school, prepared the protocols after the Board of Education voted last month to prevent school officials from breathalyzing all students attending the homecoming dance. Pinn said she was presenting what the board will do to keep the students safe. Absent blanket breathalyzing, Pinn said, 5 protocols will be put into place or kept in place at all future dances. Those include moving the homecoming dance to Friday, November 13th, continuing to sell tickets to events only in advance, hiring an outside security company to watch bathrooms for the duration of the event, increasing faculty and staff chaperones, increasing education of students and parents. And the board did not need to vote on these protocols. Board member Kathy Gombos, however, still said she was concerned that the school was putting too much emphasis on a relatively small number of drinking incidents. She said, "We don't have students engaging in dangerous behaviors," before referencing her own math that she says shows only 0.033% of Barlow students have engaged in alcohol drinking at dances. She said, "I think we are putting a face on our student body that isn't accurate, and that bothers me." You can get more on that story at thereadingpilot.com. Going to throw it over to Rob Adams now. Rob.
All right, Kate, good morning once again, everyone. We've got a lot to get to, so let's dive into it. We start in volleyball, where Ward beat Ludlow 3-2, Greenwich over Danbury 3-1, Ridgefield 3, Norwalk nothing. McMahon gets a win over Wilton as well, 3-0. Trumbull by 1 over Trinity Catholic 3-2, Darien 3, West Hill 2, Stamford 3, Central nothing, and St. Joseph over New Canaan 3-0. From field hockey, Darien by 5 over Ward, a shutout there. Norwalk with a shutout as well, 2-0. McMahon with a shutout on St. Joseph, 2-0. Norwalk had a 1-0 shutout on Trumbull. Soccer, it was Darien over Greenwich 3-0. Central 5, St. Joseph nothing. This is boys soccer. Staples over Trinity Catholic 8-0. Wilton took care of West Hill 4-1. Ridgefield 2, Trumbull nothing. Ludlow by 1 over Stamford 2-1. Danbury took care of New Canaan 3-0, and Ward over Norwalk 1-0. Now to what you saw right here yesterday on the HAN network. Good day for cross country. Let us start on the ladies' side, and congratulations to all the winners. Specifically, we will name the individual, and we'll also give you some team winners as well. First, in the girls' varsity race, it was Hannah DeBalzi with her 3rd straight championship. Mary Lynch second from Wilton. Susanna Martin came in 3rd. DeBalzi will go to Stanford in the fall, so congratulations to her. Over on the boys' side, we move over and take a look at the 5K, and Eric Vanderels with his first win and the first champion ever to come out of Brian McMahon. Gabe Altop was also expected to be in the mix, and in fact, he came in 2nd. William Brisman of Fairfield Ward came in 3rd. Some other winners for you. Natalie Sapio of Danbury won the girls' freshman race. Angel Vicioso of McMahon won the boys' freshman race. And then on the junior varsity side, it was Evie Natasi of Ridgefield getting the win there, and Brad Fox of Danbury with the boys' junior varsity win. But we've got some highlights for you that Eric Gendron put together. Let's see if we can have a look at those right now.
And Hannah's finally coming in right now. Final stretch.
Here she comes.
Time is roughly 13:38 right now.
So we'll watch her as she crosses, coming up on 13:45.
She's making it look so easy right now.
She really is.
And I can tell she's holding back a little. There's no reason to go all out for her right now. Nice, easy win today for her. That's great.
13:58 as the applause builds, and she crosses the line in what looks like about 14:04.
So what were you feeling too? I know you said the game plan was to go out conservatively, kind of fast. And then it looks like you eased up a little. Was it an easy effort for you, or was it a moderate effort?
I wouldn't say easy.
Yeah.
It's not like an.
It looked easy for you in the end.
Like the goals like the game plan for every season has been like only race hard, and like it really counts. Like save your hard efforts for like the big meets.
So when's the first hard effort?
Probably, I don't know. We'll see. Either state opens New England's.
Yeah?
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to see the time. Still under 15 minutes, which is phenomenal. He might. Okay, 15. So he's under 15:20 right now, which is going to be a great race for him. He's really hammering this one. You probably have a better view than I do right now.
Almost. We're at 15:10.
15:10.
And Eric Vanderels is going to be your 2015 FCAC Boys Cross Country Champion.
What was your strategy after that? Settle in or keep pushing the pace?
Definitely. Well, I talked to him, my coach, and he just said, catch that cart, go for it, stick with the fast pace, and try to run a fast time today, because this is one of the flattest course we're going to get, because that's Route Wickham.
And great work, by the way, by Armstrong Noonan, who was with that deadly handsome play-by-play guy yesterday over at New Canaan. Army was outstanding from Darien. Only an injury kept him from running right alongside Eric Vanderels, and that would have been one great race. They're great friends, as a matter of fact, so that really would have been a cool story. But they'll be back together in states for sure. In any event, Vanderels ran in 15:24. Danbury, the overall boys champion, Staples second, Ward came in third. On the other side, on the ladies' side, Hannah DeBalzi ran in 14:05. And the winners on the team side, Ridgefield came in first, Staples second, and Wilton third. It was an outstanding day, really, at Waveney Park in great conditions. We were really fortunate to have the kind of day we did. On the schedule today, it's Ludlow and Stamford in girls soccer, St. Joe's and Central, Trinity Catholic home for Staples, Ridgefield is at Trumbull, New Canaan at Danbury, and Norwalk visits Fairfield Ward. In field hockey, Danbury at St. Joseph, Greenwich at Stamford, Wilton home for McMahon, girls swimming and diving, St. Joseph at Wilton. And you may be vaguely familiar with Greenwich High School. We will be even more familiar on Saturday. It is, of course, the long-awaited Marinelli Bowl, the Greenwich Cardinals and the New Canaan Rams, 3 o'clock for the kickoff. Chris Kalin and I will be together in the booth if we haven't killed each other by then. Cato is a giddy Mets fan today, so congratulations to all the Mets fans. And we'll be on the air with the broadcast, FCAC tailgate at noon, FCAC game day at 1. Cato and I are actually great friends. That's sports. I'm Rob Adams. Back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to some news today, the oldest cemetery still in existence in Shelton will be the site of an informative walk this Saturday, October 24th. Located off Constitution Boulevard, where it is tucked away adjacent to Route 8, Long Hill Burial Ground holds some stories dating back to the 1720s and is the final resting place for many members of Shelton's first families. Marty Coughlin, who is president of the Shelton Historical Society and Long Hill Cemetery Association, will present the program at 10:30 in the morning and will repeat it again at 2 in the afternoon. $5 admission for adults will benefit both organizations. However, admission is free for students. It is recommended to wear sturdy shoes, and parking along Long Hill Avenue is very limited. For additional information, you can visit sheltonhistoricalsociety.org. Well, relocating the famed Stratford High School entrance archway is part of the plan for the renovation of the high school. Officials with the Stratford High Renovation Subcommittee, architects and engineers presented their proposed plans on Monday before an audience of just under 40 people. The first phase of the renovation will include building a new wing across King Street. The second phase will feature future demolition of a portion of the current Stratford High School and then rebuilding it, while the third phase will include a renovation and addition to the current site. The renovated Shelton High will include a bridge that connects the wings on the second floor and passes over King Street. There is a lot more on that story at StratfordStar.com. But we are going to take a break, and when we come back, John Kovach will be joining me to take a look at our HAN Network front pages this week. That's coming up after this.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first, a place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Tired of all the bull? Relax and enjoy the experience of buying a car at Panby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram. No bull allowed.
And And we're back on this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break. And since it is Thursday, it's time to take a look at the front pages of our HAN Network papers this week. And John Kovach, our editorial director, is joining me to do that. John?
Glad to be here.
All right, glad to have you. Well, John, what are you taking a look at?
Lots of politics. It's that time of year, so we've got a lot of debate stories, leading papers, including the Weston Forum, which I'm looking at right now, plus a complaint against Democrats in Weston involving absentee ballots, another sign of the times there. But little things positive here. Here's a 17-year-old who is the youngest member of Weston Emergency Medical Services, a volunteer. Great to see the kids out there doing that and learning those skills. They're giving back to the community and they're learning life-saving skills. Great stuff.
That is great. Well, I'm taking a look at the Richfield Press, and this happens every year. It kind of makes me sad, though, because it means winter is coming, but the Cass Gilbert Fountain is getting covered with its little birdcage-like cover and each piece of glass that has to be put in separately. So the fountain's beautiful even when it's covered up, but that does mean that it's getting cold.
It does, but it's a handsome little cover there. It does remind me a bit of Thunderdome.
Yes, each of those pieces of glass has to be put in separately. So as you can see, the glass isn't in it yet. First they put the cage on and then they put the glass in. And of course, also on the front page of the Ridgefield Press, a study offering ways to boost the retail district. A downtown with more sidewalks, with pretty trees, and smartly outfitted joggers needs shops and stores, according to Mac Reed of the Press. There's a lot more on that story on the front page, but always interesting.
Ridgefield, one of those great downtowns where it's kind of set aside and you can go and actually walk the downtown and shop. Yeah, that also the case in New Canaan, where we've got some government stories. The audit committee has stopped work there. They're looking into the finances there, and they have stepped aside, citing deficient fiscal controls. And Rob Malazzi, the incumbent Republican first selectman, who's only facing an independent challenge this fall, saying he supports the auditorium at Sachs Middle School, but not the full expansion. That price tag's raised a few eyebrows in the next station.
Beautiful photo on the front page of New Canaan.
Yeah, that is an awesome photo.
I'm just a sucker for any fall photos this time of year in any of our towns.
Waveney Park, just one of those. You can go anywhere in Waveney Park, point a camera in any direction, and get a beautiful photo.
Yeah, we were there all day yesterday. It was great. Well, now I'm taking a look at the Trumbull Times and some big news this week that Narcan was used by EMS and police to save the life of an overdose victim. But this is the third time police have used Narcan to save a life since July 14th. So obviously, and it's been discussed at length in Trumbull, how much heroin is becoming a very serious issue there. It tends to also be young men in their 20s or late teens. So definitely check that story out. Very important. And I think a brilliant marketing move by the owners of a new restaurant that's opening in Trumbull. I mean, if there's anything Trumbull residents get excited about, it's a new restaurant opening. And Mex on Main has been selected as the new restaurant name after a month-long naming contest that yielded over 300 entries. What a great way to get people excited about your new business is to include them in the naming process. So Mex on Main, that's going to be opening February 2016. And the winning Trumbull resident who picked the name was Robin Tenace. So congratulations to her. And of course, something that's on the front page of all our FCAC towns this week is that postseason games will be on our HAN pay-per-view platform. So that's very important.
It's an adorable photo of the father sharing his trophy from the pumpkin run with his son.
That's just a great photo by Lisa Romanchik.
Story in the Monroe Courier about a domestic violence vigil. You're seeing a lot of those with the Center for Family Justice this month, as it is Domestic Violence Month. If you've ever been to one, just an incredibly touching event. Also a story about a Monroe woman, Sarah Simpson, who bought 150 fresh baked pies, one for every family that uses the Monroe Food Pantry, to give them for the holidays.
That's really nice. Well, taking a look at the Shelton Herald, something we've been talking about on Coffee Break, which is the mayoral debate, which Mayor Mark Loretti chose not to participate in, but the other two candidates, Timothy Bristol and Michelle Bialik, still went forward with it. So Aaron Berkowitz wrote a great story on covering that. Also, as well, the city's ongoing battle with graffiti continues at the Nike site off Mohegan Road. Some people are very upset about some very explicit graffiti and damage that's been done to the area, and they want to know if it'll get cleaned up. So definitely follow SheltonHerald.com for more on that. Terrible news we reported last week about a wreck on Bridgeport Avenue that left one young woman dead, Lee Sabo. Very sad news there.
Yeah, awful. Seeing so much of that in this strip in Shelton, Bridgeport Avenue and Route 8 have just become very dangerous stretches of road for some reason that I can't figure out.
They have. And of course, well, some big news for downtown Shelton is after 31 years of serving Shelton as president of the Shelton Economic Development Corporation, James Ryan is retiring. So he did a great job. I know he led to a lot of changes in downtown Shelton that are still, reaping the benefits of now.
Yeah, I mean, it really is an area that's experiencing a renaissance.
It is.
Milford among the cities that has a pink police car during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That atop the front page of the Milford Mirror. Also a look at walk times. And this is another thing where a lot of push to encourage kids to walk to school, make them more healthy. They're looking to lessen the walk times in Milford. That'll be certainly a hotly debated topic, as it always is.
Well, taking a look at the Reading pilot, of course, the election approaches. And Chris Burns had an interesting story. He kind of covered a Channel 12 first selectman candidate debate. And the headline is Pemberton scores clear victory during first debate. And I noticed that on the ReadingPilot.com there was a lot of reader response to that headline. So it was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah,
very interesting to see.
That was.
And unfortunately, a Reading Elementary School occupational therapist who died unexpectedly. There's more on that there.
Taking a look at the Easton Courier, the school board there is wrestling with a spike in the cost of health care claims, always a point. And Barlow administrators have developed a 5-point plan for safe dances as they have denied the use of breathalyzers at those events.
And finally, I'm just taking a look at the Stratford Star. And of course, Melvin Mason's been doing a good job of keeping everyone updated on the very serious story about the Stratford teacher who allegedly had a sexual relationship with a young student. She has been fired, according to the superintendent, and I know Melvin's been following that story. And of course, something we just mentioned on Coffee Break, which was the planned renovations of Stratford High School. I know that's a big deal because Stratford High School is a very old building.
Handsome building.
It's a beautiful building. It gets decorated every Christmas. It's right next to Town Hall. But they're going to be doing some major renovations there, which I'm sure are needed.
Oh, it definitely needed. There are definitely problems there. The renovations, I think, will be on the playing fields on the other side of King Street, which will be interesting to see how they offset that loss.
Right.
Taking a look at the Wilton Bulletin, a beautiful autumn picture of Kent Pond and some coverage of the first selectman race. Interesting story, actually, on page 2 of the Bulletin about a young woman who survived a stroke very young who'll be running the New York City Marathon.
Oh, wow. All right, John, well, we have some good stuff on our front pages this week.
Yeah, it is. Very good. And a pretty broad scope.
Definitely. And I know Yankee Fisherman is coming up at 1 o'clock today. What can people...
We will be talking a little bit about a story I know you and I have talked about, and that the death of a whale, that warnings were put out, and they are reasonably certain the whale was hit by a boat.
Right.
We are also looking at special designation for one of the big fishing destinations in Connecticut, and we're going to continue looking at collectibles with a Ridgefield resident who focuses on the more unusual and the more overlooked items in terms of angling collectibles, and that'll be at 1 o'clock on Yankee Fisherman, which will be followed by Arts and
Leisure, which we're excited about. So big day. That's going to do it, though, for your coffee break. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great afternoon.